Grand Hotel was released in 1932 and it picked up the Academy Award for Best Picture. It's directed by Edmund Goulding. It stars Greta Garbo, Joan Crawford, John Barrymore and his brother Lionel Barrymore. Now a couple of nights ago I was trying to get to sleep, and more to the point I was trying to get my daughter to sleep, and I figured, you know what, I'll put something on that it'll be old, it'll be boring, and it should send her right off. Now we started watching it together. She did indeed get bored. She turned over and she kind of ignored it. Unfortunately didn't fall asleep though, little toe rag. But yeah, I carried on watching this thing. I started off thinking, yeah, I probably made the right choice here. This is looking dull. We're taken into the world of this hotel. The whole film is set within the walls of this hotel. And it's all about the toing and throwing of life within the walls of this hotel. Just how it becomes its own little ecosystem, its own universe, essentially. And people come, they have their adventures, and they go, and it all starts all over again. As it started, I thought, yeah, this is going to be a bit boring. But you know what? About 20 minutes, 25 minutes into it, the characters really started to grab hold of me, and I became more engrossed, and the things that you thought you were seeing, you weren't seeing. That, you know, the places you thought it was going to go, it didn't, and it was turning. So you've got all, as I say, all these different characters with their dramas and the journeys they take you on with them are just quite engrossing. Again, 1932. You know, they didn't have all the tricks that modern day movies have up their sleeve to get you like that. They had to use good old fashioned storytelling and character work. And yeah, I came away from this having a really pleasant experience. Like it stuck with me afterwards. So Greta Garbo is here playing this dancer, this ballet dancer, who is pretty much at the end of her rope. She's tired of the fame. She's very, well, it's not that she's tired of the fame, it's that it's all she knows. And if she doesn't get it, if she feels like the audience isn't there, isn't showing up for her, there's no purpose for her life. So, you know, this is a very suicidal character. Greta Garbo is very good at playing that kind of darker aspect of fame and whatnot. She was very famous for being kind of reclusive, kind of, you know, she standoffish with the media. She didn't really like her whole life being invaded the way it was, and the way a lot of movie stars back then had it. So yeah, I feel like you get the sense there's something autobiographical about this character for her, something that really resonates with her, and she's able to play to that, use her own strengths as a person to play to that as a character. John Barrymore, perhaps the most likeable character in this film, I would say, despite the fact that he's a bit of a rogue. He's a lovable rogue, you know. He's a very early kind of example of that type of character, the lovable rogue. He paints himself as a baron. He calls himself a baron, and he's actually a thief. You know, he weaves in and out of this hotel, making friends, kind of, I wouldn't say worming his way in, because he is quite a charming guy, and it does appear that by the end of that film that the charm is genuine, you know. But he picks his targets and he steals from them. But he's in debt, so you kind of get the sense that that's the real reason he's on the rob at the moment, but also maybe he does have a history, so he's not completely kosher. Either way, he's done bad things in the past. But throughout the film, he shows himself to be a man of conviction, a man of honour, a man who looks out for others, you know, those who can't look out for themselves. And you really grow to like this character. And there's a relationship that develops between him and the Greta Garbo character that ultimately is quite tragic. And there's a moment where that relationship kind of begins that for me is probably the weakest spot of the film, because I don't know if he's just trying to play this woman or whether he's being genuine. And I'm siding with the fact that he's trying to get out of the situation he's in, and he figures this is his best shot, so he's just trying to play her. But when it turns out that he's not, and he's actually being genuine, I was kind of like, okay, maybe that's a little bit too much of a big brushstroke with regards to this character. Something he's overheard makes him feel for her to such a degree that he ends up falling in love with her. Now, that aside, that's a little bit of a stretch, but only because we don't really see the majority of their relationship forming. It's kind of all done off screen, essentially. When we cut away, then we come back, we realise they've spent the night together, not in bed, but just talking, getting to know each other. So, yeah, the fact that it does play off screen doesn't help in settling my fears that this guy isn't completely on the level. But other than that, as I say, everything around him and what he's about, what he's eventually trying to do, it really makes me warm to him across the movie. We start out thinking he's the bad guy, and by the time we get to the end of the movie, we're really rooting for him, and he's like, we're in his corner. The flip side of that is this character played by William Beery, who at the start of the film paints himself as an honest man, a man of integrity, a family man. He bangs on about the fact that he has wife and kids, but as we go through the film, we see that he's actually far from being an honest man, far from being a man of integrity. And it is this, the film does play on this notion that no one is ever what they seem. People can be all talk and no action, and other people barely say a word, but what they do means a heck of a lot. So yeah, he's kind of the villain of the piece ultimately, but also just not an out villain. He's just a man who's makes bad decisions, makes wrong choices, and ultimately it does end in some quite a shocking ending. I'll say that much. I don't want to give too much away. For anyone who's not seen this, and I would recommend, if you're interested in film history, those movies you need to check off the list. Of the ones, the early Oscar winners, Best Picture Oscar winners, this is one where I would safely say, it's worth checking out. It takes you places you don't expect. I certainly didn't expect where this film went at the end. When it finishes, I was kind of left a little bruised. One of the standouts is Joan Crawford. She plays the secretary of the bad guy, so to speak. But she is full of warmth in this film, and this was quite kind of an earlier role for her. She wasn't quite the Joan Crawford that she would be known as. This was like an early role. She was coming in, but even back when this film came out, many critics said that the surprising thing was how this newbie Joan Crawford kind of pulls the rug out from under the likes of Greta Garbo, who was the big name at the time. But there are times when she does walk away with a movie just because of the likeable charm that she has. And finally, as I say, we've got Lionel Barrymore. Seeing him play alongside his brother here is quite interesting, especially as they're not playing brothers. But I was struggling to kind of figure out where I'd seen Barrymore before. I knew I'd seen him, and I was like, I know this guy. I definitely know I've seen him, but I just couldn't peg it all the way through the film. And then I realised that, oh man, it's the guy from It's a Wonderful Life, the Scroogey guy, the villain of It's a Wonderful Life, the wheelchair-bound guy who's all hunched over and you would never know. And maybe that's a testament to him as an actor. Here he plays a completely different character here, and all the way through I was like, I know this guy, but I got no clue where from. But yeah, totally different personality here, totally different kind of demeanor. He plays this guy who's basically, he knows right from the beginning of the film that he's dying, he doesn't have long to live, so he's come to the Grand Hotel to spend what little he has left, on going out with a bang, so to speak. But he's kind of this sad, pathetic character who you get a sense he's done the right thing his whole life. You know, he's done the thing that society has told him to do: work the 9 to 5, save up, you know, make sure that you're doing what you're told, and it's all for nothing, because in the end he's caught something that's going to kill him. So he's in that place of not knowing what to do with that, so to speak. So when he kind of runs into the John Barrymore character, and this guy befriends him, he's suddenly in his element. He's suddenly experiencing things he's never experienced before. And he's a really likeable character. He's put upon, though. You know, there are characters in here that put him down and step on him, because, I mean, he's used to that. That's the way he's been his whole life. So when this John Barrymore character is like in his corner, he's almost given a new lease of life through that. So again, that feeds into the fact that even though the John Barrymore character is a thief, he's got a plan to rob this woman, he's still got a heart. He's still got a heart of gold, ultimately. He wants the best for people around him, even though he finds himself in a situation he doesn't really want to be in. So, yeah, as I say, the whole film was a surprise for me. Given how old it is, the fact that it took a while to get going. It was a good 25 minutes before I realised, hang on, I'm getting invested here. But I feel like you need those 25 minutes to do the groundwork to get us there. And it's only in retrospect, after the fact, that I realised, oh, hang on, yeah, looking back, they did some good work there. So I think this is one I would watch again, and probably respect those opening 25 minutes a bit more second time around, because I know where it's going. But yeah, just good storytelling, really great characters that pulled you in, really great story, based around this microcosm of this world inside a hotel, and yeah, kind of makes me want to visit the hotel itself in many ways. But charming film, but also very tragic in many ways. Yeah, highly recommend it. If you've seen Grand Hotel, I'd like to know what you thought about it. So please do leave your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on the film. And until next time, cracking.